This is Gene Monterestelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 441, originally aired March 23rd, 2020. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Today, we are going to spend some time talking about and tapping on what I am calling second wave emotions. As a reminder, I am constantly updating my resource list as I gather tapping resources from around the world on the website. If you go to tappingqa.com/COVID-19, tappingqa.com/COVID-19, there is no hyphen in there, just COVID-19. You will see the continually growing list of resources. And this morning, before I recorded this, I actually went in and reorganized the page. And the reason that I reorganized the page is in regard to what we're going to be tapping about today. I've reorganized the page into what I am calling first wave and second wave emotions. When we are dealing with a crisis like the one we are dealing with right now, the first thing that happens is we experience shock, overwhelm, and fear. We don't know what is going on. There's lots of misinformation. There's lots of incomplete information, and we are facing something that we've never faced before. And so it makes sense that we feel shock, overwhelm, and fear. As time passes, and depending on where you are in the world, you're at a different point as things are unfolding. As time passes, we move past the initial shock. We move past the initial fear. Not that we don't still feel fear, not that we don't still feel overwhelmed, but it's changing because it's not about this thing that is happening right now, but this thing that we are in the middle of that doesn't necessarily end anytime soon. And because of that, we start moving into these second wave emotions. And so I've reorganized the page into first wave and second wave emotions. So you can kind of pick the tapping resource that makes the most sense where you are. And it's also important to recognize, like, this is not first wave and then we grow into second wave. It's just part of our experience. And we're going to move back and forth between these things. That there were moments over the weekend that I found myself back in what I'm calling first wave emotions. And so don't feel like if you are still experiencing first wave emotions, that means that you're not evolving through this. It's just a different type of emotional experience. Both of them are valid. Both of them we can respond to with tapping. And so as we work through this, we're going to be bumping into lots of different things. That's the reason why I've reorganized the page, so it's easier for you to find the resource that you want. Today, what we're going to do is we are going to tap on 7 different second wave emotions. And if you go into the show notes, or if you're looking at this on the website, you will see a list of the 7 things that we're going to tap on with timestamps, so that if you want to jump to a specific one of the tap-alongs, you don't have to scroll back and forth to try and find the beginning, but you can just go exactly to the minute and seconds that are listed there, so it is easier for you to navigate. Also, I would encourage you to go to tappingqa.com, click on the blue button to subscribe to the 10-part guide to eliminate self-sabotage. The guide's great, but more importantly, as I keep creating new resources, as I keep collating resources from all over the world, because once I finish recording this, I'm actually going to send notes out again to all of my friends in the tapping world to see what new things they've created. If you are on the mailing list, as we keep updating stuff, you're going to receive email reminders, so you are recognizing the new resources that are showing up. So with that being said, we are just going to do 7 rounds of tapping on 7 different issues. Not all of them are going to apply to you because some of them are dependent upon the circumstance that you are in. And you'll see that when we get to the second one and the third one. So tap on the side of the hand, take a nice big deep breath. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tap on going stir crazy. Now, again, depending on where you are in this cycle, because of some personal issues and what's going on in New York City, I've basically been inside for the last 2.5 weeks. And for other people, you're just being in a circumstance where you're starting to shelter in place or stay inside for a couple of days. But going stir crazy is something that happens to all of us, particularly when we're in a circumstance where we feel stuck and it's out of control. So again, one more time, the side of the hand, take another big deep breath. And just move from point to point. Right now, I'm going stir crazy. I'm tired of seeing the same 4 walls. I'm tired of being stuck inside. I'm missing fresh air. I'm missing movement. The space feels really confining because I'm used to having control of my movement. I'm used to being able to come and go as I please. Part of the reason I feel stir crazy is because I don't have control. And even if I'm not a control freak, I am recognizing how much control I have day to day. And in a moment like this, I've lost connection to that control. I'm not having any variety in what I'm seeing. And I'm not having any variety in what I'm doing. And so it makes perfect sense that I'm going stir crazy. And I give myself permission to be okay with feeling stir crazy. It is a natural emotion for me to be feeling in this moment. I give myself permission to make thoughtful choices about creating a little space. I give myself permission to make thoughtful choices about taking care of myself. I give myself permission to not only get out of the house for a few moments, but to do it in a thoughtful way. To truly enjoy a little space. To truly enjoy a little movement. It feels like I'm going to be stuck inside forever. But that's not the case. I am stir crazy now, but I will not be stuck like this. Nice deep breath. Now, the second and third tapping that we're going to do, you're going to see are in contrast to each other. The first is about not having any personal space, and the second is about feeling isolated, because we are in different situations. You know, everybody in my family is in a position where they're spending time in close quarters with people, and I'm in the opposite circumstance. I am here in an apartment by myself, and both of those create some different problems. So we're going to do no personal space first, isolation second. Side of the hand, nice big deep breath. I didn't realize how much I appreciated having personal space. I didn't realize how much I like being alone with my own thoughts. And right now I'm constantly around people. Even if I'm able to go into a bedroom by myself, there's a part of me that doesn't feel completely alone. There's a part of me that still feels like I am around other people. I know being around other people is good. I know having personal interaction is good. But it's really hard not having personal space and then spending all of the time with the exact same people. Even if it's people I love. Even if it's people I truly appreciate. Being stuck in this space is hard. I give myself permission to know I'm allowed to take space. even if the people I'm stuck with don't want me to do so. I give myself permission to be thoughtful. I give myself permission to be deliberate as I spend time in space that I don't control. In big and small ways. Nice deep breath. Give me a big stretch, move a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to talk for the exact opposite of that. We're being in a situation where we're feeling isolated. And what's really interesting is you could be in a circumstance where you are in a space with lots of people, but because of the nature of the relationship that you have with those people, you still might feel isolated and alone because there are people you might want to be spending time with that you're not getting the opportunity to do that. Side of the hand, nice big deep breath. There's a part of me that feels isolated. There's a part of me that feels lonely. Even though I live in a time where I'm connected to people all over the world, physical distance is hard. We are social creatures. We are physical creatures. We were not made for solitude. We were not made for isolation. And there's a part of me that is having a difficult time being this isolated. Even when I digitally connect with my loved ones regularly, they still feel like they are at arm's length. There's still a feeling of small disconnection. It's good for me to recognize this feeling of disconnection. I give myself permission to move past that feeling to reach out and touch others. Even if I can't touch them in a physical way, I can reach out and connect in an emotional way. I give myself permission to pay attention and hear my feeling of isolation. To know it's something that I should thoughtfully respond to. In big and in small ways. It is okay to feel disconnected when I am disconnected. It is okay to feel lonely when I am alone. And I give myself permission to hear that feeling of disconnection. To not let it grow in power. But to respond to it in such a way where I'm making good choices. This isolation feels as if it is going to last forever. It's not actually going to last forever. I give myself permission to connect as I navigate this. Nice deep breath. The fourth thing that I want to tap on is the feeling of sadness and loss from all of the things that are being missed Be them small things that we do daily, like maybe getting together with some friends in a regular weekly meetup, seeing people at work, or for bigger things that have been lost. Sporting events, graduations, weddings, baptisms, confirmations, birthday celebrations. These things that were happening at a really specific moment in time that we're not going to be able to do. Side of the hand, nice deep breath. I'm starting to recognize that things are going to be missed. They're not simply being postponed, but they're being canceled. And that makes me sad. Because I was looking forward to these events. Some of these events I've worked so hard to make happen. And many of them are never going to happen. And the emotion of sadness is just pointing out the loss. The emotion of sadness is pointing out what is being missed. The mourning that I'm feeling is natural. Because it is letting me know what is important. It is letting me know what I think is valuable. On some level, I'm glad that there are things that are so important that I actually miss them. I recognize that this is not going to last forever. I recognize that we will get to connect again in the future. That we will get a chance to celebrate. That we will get a chance to move forward. That we will get a chance to keep doing more in this way. Sadness is natural. I give myself permission to feel it. I give myself permission to mourn what is lost. And I give myself permission to be fully present to what I'm experiencing now. The next thing I want to do is I want to tap on motivation and the lack thereof. For those of us here in New York, if we are non-essential workers, we're supposed to be at home. So that means lots and lots and lots of people are home. And it's tempting when you are home to be casual, be comfortable, and that's not a bad thing. But at a certain point, wearing your pajamas just means that you're going to get sucked into the couch. And so it's important that we don't just simply let time pass. It's good that we are not pushing ourselves, that we're being thoughtful and deliberate, and at the exact same time not being overwhelmed by everything that is going on to the point that we don't have any motivation at all. So we're going to do a little tapping for motivation. Side of the hand, nice big deep breath. There's a part of me that is not feeling motivated. Because it feels like I am stuck. It feels as if there is nothing I can do, which is going to have a lasting impact. And because I feel that way, I found myself sedentary. I find myself stuck. doing mindless tasks. All of a sudden recognizing 2 hours have passed without me doing anything at all. It's good that I'm being thoughtful. It's good that I'm being deliberate. It's good that I'm not trying to rush through something that might take some time. But at the exact same time, I still need to keep moving forward. It doesn't mean I have to accomplish 8 million things. But I would like to be productive. I would like to take action. I would like to keep moving forward. So I give myself permission to take a few moments to refocus, to create a concrete plan on how I'm going to navigate the day, even if it's just a few hours of focus. Because when I have a plan and I accomplish it, I can feel myself moving forward. I can feel myself being a little more productive. I have a little more energy throughout the rest of the day. I don't have to do everything all at once. I don't have to have a 47-point plan. But I do know being present. And I do know being thoughtful is going to help me to navigate this day today. I give myself permission to do a little bit, while finding balance to take care of myself. I can find and I can reconnect with my motivation. Nice deep breath. The next thing I want to tap on isn't something I would have necessarily thought about, but it came up in a class that I was teaching yesterday, which was really wonderful. And the frustration that the participant shared with me was the frustration with all of these extra steps that we're having to take to do menial tasks, the way we have to wipe things down and wash our hands, and the way that we interact in the world when we do go out. And it's natural, and it's okay to be frustrated by extra work and extra steps as we make life more complicated. Because as we know, frustration is just our body, our system telling us that we're not having what we want or our desires met. And it's good that we have desires. So let's tap on that side of the hand. Nice big deep breath. Move from point to point. Right now, I'm frustrated by all of these extra steps. How I have to constantly wash my hands and wipe down everything in my environment. How I have to keep distance from other people in the world. How getting around is more complicated. How simple transactions like paying for a cup of coffee have become more complicated. And the frustration I feel is just my system wanting it to be easier. The frustration I feel is just wanting myself to be able to navigate the world in a reasonable way. And at the exact same time, I recognize these inconveniences are about keeping people healthy. These inconveniences are about keeping people safe. And I know in the long run, it's not always going to be this way. I know in the long run, things will be easier. And I give myself permission to know it's okay to feel a sense of frustration. And it's okay to recognize this frustration isn't going to last forever. As inconvenient as these steps are, they are small inconveniences in comparison to the value of keeping those around me safe and healthy. Nice deep breath. The last thing that I want to tap on today is the frustration and the overwhelm that comes with people just wanting to talk about what is going on all of the time. And anytime we're in something that is big like this, that we've never been through before, people are trying to process it in their own ways. And some people are verbal processors, and some people, because it feels so unsafe and uncertain, the way that they're able to make it feel more certain is to talk about it, to try and manage it. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little tapping for being frustrated and tired with this circumstance and COVID-19 being the topic of conversation all the time. Side of the hand, nice deep breath. And just move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. There is a part of me that is really frustrated with the conversation. The way that every conversation is controlled by what is going on in the world. And many of the conversations are going round and round and round. And it's just the same conversation again and again and again. I know this is because many people are verbal processors. And they're just trying to understand what is going on. And for some people, by talking about it, it's how they exhibit control. Because if they are having a conversation about it, it feels a little more manageable. Having a conversation about it makes it a little more understandable. Even if nothing new is being said. I give myself permission to know I don't have to participate in these conversations. I don't have to stay stuck inside of them. And at the exact same time, I understand why they are happening. And for the people that need to have them, I'm going to allow them to have them. And for myself, I'm going to keep doing the things that make sense for me. Nice big deep breath. I hope that was helpful. Just zipping through those different topics. If there's one particular one that you want to go back to, again, look in the show notes, go inside of your podcast app. If you're listening to this on a smartphone, you can see that inside of the notes section or the text section that is associated with this particular show, you'll see the list of all of them. Oftentimes in a podcast app, the timestamps, like I have them written, is actually a link. And if you click on it, it'll take you right to that exact moment in the podcast. If you happen to be listening to this in the website, You can just drag the little scroll bar and you can see the timestamp on there. So it's easy for you to move to the exact spot to do this. If there are topics that we have not covered yet, particularly those second wave topics, please let me know. I would love to hear what topics you are struggling with and how I can be helpful as we navigate all of this. Again, I'd encourage you to go to the website tappingqa.com/COVID-19 because I'm gathering more and more resources. At the time of the recording, we're up over 35 resources. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I've emailed a bunch of my practitioner friends to see what else they're creating. And if you know of a resource, please pass it along. Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com. I hope you are well. I wish there was something that I could do more than just providing you simple little audios to try and ease and calm your emotional state. This is one of those moments that is hard. And I know it is hard because there have been lots of moments in the last 3 or 4 days that have been hard for me emotionally as well. And thankfully, we have a tool like tapping, and thankfully, we have people we can reach out for. And thankfully, we have resources that other people are creating that might be helpful in a time like this. Be thoughtful, be deliberate, make good, thoughtful choices. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrastille. Hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrastille Tapping Q&A. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrastille and Tapping Q&A.